Let's talk about empathy. Some would say I'm the worst person to talk about this. After all, my philosophy of managing emotions is roughly equivalent to that of Ron Swanson.
Crying, acceptable at funerals and the Grand Canyon.
But talk about it we must. After all, everyone else is, from Joe Rigney to Allie Beth Stuckey. They're talking about it because they're noticing a growing trend. Empathy's the talk of the town. Years ago, Brené Brown popularized the idea that empathy is like climbing down into the emotional hole with somebody to share in their pain, while sympathy just stands aloof at the mouth of the hole, offering a sandwich.
No. You want a sandwich?
Some of this is just semantics, and that's fine as far as it goes. As a Christian, I'm sure glad that Jesus took on flesh and came down from heaven to suffer with us here on earth as a man, and didn't just reach down from heaven with a footlong. But Jesus also ascended out of the pit to rule the world. And for us, if we just dive feet first into someone else's emotional pit, well, we can't pull them out. Just look at our culture's current values right now, and you'll see that we've been bound and cast headlong into a bottomless pit of empathy. Abortion is healthcare. Trans women are women. Love is love. No human is illegal. To Stuckey's point, empathy, like charity, can turn toxic. Toxic empathy is how MS-13 gang member Abrego Garcia got a personal visit from Senator Van Hollen in El Salvador, or how Carmelo Anthony has raised more than $500,000 as of this recording after the alleged murder of Austin Metcalf. It's also how the Minecraft movie ended up the year's highest-grossing film at the box office, despite everyone knowing that it's flaming hot garbage.
This makes no sense.
Don't I know it?
But empathy is also how modern evangelicals are uniquely vulnerable. If you're going to grab Christians, it's going to be by our bleeding hearts. Love is love, if you say so. 1 Corinthians 13, after all. Now, will that be rainbow sprinkles for the wedding cake, sirs? But it's critical that we distinguish between worldly empathy and biblical sympathy, or better yet, compassion. Word counts don't always prove much, but it's interesting to me that a Bible search for the word empathy yields 0 results, while a search for sympathy yields 23 results, and a search for compassion yields 345 results. See, if empathy means feeling what other people feel, period, no holds barred, then there's a problem. What if feeling what another person is feeling means sharing with them in feeling something that's sinful or wrong or based on something that's not true? If that person is a hater of God, according to Romans 1, am I supposed to join him in that emotion as well because of reasons? By contrast, biblical compassion, rather than diving into someone else's emotional pit, keeps one foot on terra firma in order to reach in, relate mercifully and understandingly to the suffering person, but then to pull them back out into reality, into the light, if and when the time comes. Knowing the difference is crucial for our endurance in the Christian life. Think about the last sermon that you heard about missions. Maybe you heard an appeal to feel the weight of hopelessness that the lost feel without Christ. This is good and proper. Maybe your pastor even shed a tear. Feeling compassion for the lost is necessary. Jesus wept over Jerusalem, after all, in Luke 19, and Paul wished that he could somehow give up his own salvation to save his fellow Jews in Romans 9. But feelings of concern or sympathy are not alone sufficient. What do I mean? Well, ministry is hard. Unbelievers will irritate you. Your nerves will run out. Maybe you've been on a missions trip for a week or two and you were swept up in love for the people around you. Then you got food poisoning from the weird thing that they fed you. And by the end of the week, you were sick and tired of them, sick and tired of your team, and sick of everybody's dumb faces. Relying on sympathy to carry you through a lifetime of Christian service is like relying on the honeymoon high to carry you through 60 years of marriage. It just doesn't work like that. There's another motivation that you need in addition to compassion. Hunger, specifically a hunger for God's glory. The prophet Isaiah was told in Isaiah 6 that his preaching would bring about judgment, not salvation, but he kept preaching anyway. Why? Because he had been captured by a vision of the glory of Christ. See John 12:41. Our desire for God's fame should surpass even the compassion we must feel towards those who need salvation. Another way of putting it is this. Before we focus on relating to others, shouldn't we first enter into how God feels? To long for his glory to be spread, for idols to be toppled, and for sinners to be saved? To love what he loves and hate what he hates? And I mean, we should really enter in, not just casually, like,
No. You want a sandwich?
P.S. If you're still watching this, yes, that's an AI-generated Rembrandt behind me of me talking to an emotional support chicken doubling as a therapist. So you could say I'm kind of an expert on this topic. Thanks for watching. We produce this show not only to model a biblical worldview, but to move you out into the world. Be a part of God's mission. Find your role in advancing the gospel at abwe.org.